ओम ज्ञानं तिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वरूपं कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुवैष्णवं च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपदान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाशदेशतारिणे हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपे कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुवेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। Sharing my screen. यहाँ से स्टार्ट करना है। ओके। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, प्रणाम। प्रभु जी आप एक बार असाइन कर देंगे प्रभु जी।
अरे मुझे लगता है डेली नया सेट आता है, मतलब जैसे आज अनुष्का इशू है, अनुष्का माता जी कल नहीं थे,
ऐसे चल रहा है।
और जो कल थे वो आज नहीं है।
बैच अलग लगे प्रभु जी, TTS MWF ऐसे चलता है।
अच्छा ठीक है, ओके। तो अनुष्का माता जी इज देयर, सो विल गिव हर बिगर रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, शी विल बी Prabhupada। ठीक है माता जी? जी
प्रभु जी।
ओके, ईशु प्रो, you will be Brahmanan. Who is speaking more after Srila Prabhupada?
ये तो खत्म है ब्रो जी बस।
अच्छा, तो शिला प्रभुपाद तो अनुष्का माता जी को रखेंगे हम लोग।
ओके।
और ईशु ब्रह्मानंद स्वामी हो सकते हैं, अभी फिलहाल बाद में देखते हैं।
ओके,
बाकी सब आप देख लीजिए। ठीक है,
ओके। स्टार्ट करते हैं। रिलेटिविटी देन इज बेस्ड अपॉन इंडिविजुअल सिचुएशन, ऑन आवर इंडिविजुअल सिचुएशन।
Yes, therefore it is said that what is food for one is poison for another.
Scientists cannot survive on the moon. They think no one else can.
The problem with the world is that practically everyone is thinking only in terms of his own circumstances, and that is nonsense. Someone who has never gone out of his village thinks his village is the whole world.
Yes, the frog is always thinking in terms relative to his well. He has no power to think otherwise. The ocean is great, but he is thinking of the ocean's greatness in terms relative to his own greatness. Similarly, God is great, but we are thinking of God in terms of relative greatness relative to our own. There are certain insects that are born at night and they grow, bear offspring, and die, all before daybreak. They never see the morning, so if they conclude that there is no morning, that is nonsense. In the same way, as soon as we hear from the Shastras revealed scriptures that Brahma's duration of life is equivalent to millions of our years, we do not believe it. We say, how can it be? But Bhagavad Gita 8.17 says, Saharsa Yug Paryantam Ahar Yad Brahmono Vidu. 4,300,000,000 प्रोजेक्ट अब थोड़ा ऐसे
हाँ जी बताइए माता जी।
हाँ जी थैंक यू
4
4,300,000,000 Earth years equal Brahma's 12 hours. Even a leading Indian politician who was known as a great scholar of the Gita could not accept this information. He said it is mental speculation. Such a rascal. Yet he is passing as an important scholar. This is the problem. Rascals and fools are passing as scholars, scientists, and philosophers, and therefore the whole world is being misguided.
Wow, such a line, na? है ना?
Yes.
Rascals and fools are becoming scholar and whole world is misguided. वाह, मैं भी जो इस प्रोजेक्ट में काम कर रहा हूँ ना उससे पूरा रिलेटेबल है एक्चुअली। वहाँ पे वो नए नए बनाते हैं और मैं सोचता हूँ कि अरे क्यों बना रहे हो, इससे तो लोग पागल हो जाएंगे। बड़े बड़े कॉलेज से पास आउट हो, उनका प्रोफाइल देखता हूँ मैं लिंक्डइन पे, तो कोई एमएस है, कुछ एमबीए है, ये सब कर करके बड़ी बड़ी पोस्ट पे बैठे हैं। ओके, सेकंड मॉर्निंग वॉक।
ओके तो इसमें मिक्स है सब। डॉक्टर सिंह
क्या हुआ, यही तो है? अच्छा हाँ, तो करंधर मैं बन जाता हूँ, डॉक्टर सिंह इशू हो जाएंगे, है ना?
ओके ओके
और श्रीला प्रभुपाद ठीक है,
perfect yes. Okay, the second morning walk,
श्रीला प्रभुपाद शुरू करेंगे।
the second morning walk, April 19, 1973, recorded on April 19, 1973 in Cheviot Hills Park, Los Angeles. Srila Prabhupada is accompanied by Dr. Singh, Karandhar Das Adhikari, Brahmadan Swami, and other students. Yes, Mataji, please.
This material world is the composition of three qualities, rajas and tamas, goodness, passion, and ignorance, which are working everywhere. These three qualities are present in various proportions in all species of life. For example, some trees produce nice fruit, while others are simply meant for fuel. This is due to the association of particular qualities of nature. Some animals also, these three qualities are Among animals also, these three qualities are present. The cow is in the quality of goodness, the lion in passion, and the monkey in ignorance. According to Darwin, Darwin's father is a monkey. He has theorized foolishness.
प्रभात डार्विन के फादर को ही बोल रहे हैं, इन जनरल भी नहीं बोलेंगे। डार्विन के फादर डार्विन के हिसाब से तो मंकी थे।
Darwin has said that some species become extinct in the struggle for survival. Those which are capable of surviving will survive, but those which are not will become extinct. So he says survival and extinction go side by side.
Nothing is extinct. The monkey is not extinct. Darwin's immediate forefather, the monkey, is still existing.
डार्विन के पूर्वज तो हैं।
Darwin said there must be a natural selection, but selection means choice. So who is choosing?
That must be a person who is allowing someone to survive and someone to be killed. There must be some authority with discretion to give such an order. That is our first proposition. Who that authority is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Maya Dhakyasena.
माया दक्षेना मतलब मेरी अध्यक्षता में हो रहा है, ऐसा बता रहे हैं। माया दक्षेना मेरी अध्यक्षता में प्रकृति
Maya Dhaksena Prakriti. Nature is working under my supervision. Bhagavad Gita 9.10.
Darwin also says that the different species were not created simultaneously, but evolved gradually.
Then what is his explanation for how the process of evolution began?
Modern proponents of Darwinism say that first living organism was created chemically.
And I say to them, if life originated from chemicals and if your science is so advanced, then why can't you create life biochemically in your laboratories?
They say they will create life in the future.
What future? When this crucial point is raised, they reply, we shall do it in the future. Why in the future? That is nonsense. Trust no future, however pleasant. If they are so advanced, they must demonstrate now how life can be created from chemicals. Otherwise, what is the meaning of their advancement? They are talking nonsense.
They say that they are right on the verge of creating life.
That's only a different way of saying the same thing. In the future, the scientists must admit that they still do not know the origin of life. They claim that they will soon prove a chemical origin of life is something like paying someone with a post-dated check. Suppose I give you a post-dated check for $10,000, but I actually have no money. What is the value of that check? Scientists are claiming that the science is wonderful, but when a practical example is wanted, they say they will provide it in the future. Suppose I say that I possess millions of dollars, and when you ask me for some money, I say, yes, I will give you a big post dated check. Is that all right? If you are intelligent, you will reply, at present, give me at least $5 in cash so that I can see something tangible. Similarly, the scientists cannot produce even a single blade of grass in their laboratories, yet they are claiming that life is produced from chemicals. What is this nonsense? Is no one questioning this?
They say that life is produced by chemical laws.
As soon as there is a law, we must take into consideration that someone made the law. Despite all their so-called advancement, the scientists in the laboratories cannot even produce even a blade of grass. What kind of scientists are they?
They say that in the ultimate analysis, everything came from matter. Living matter came from non-living matter.
Then where is this living matter coming from now? Do the scientists say that life came from matter in the past but does not in the present? Where is the ant coming from now? From the dirt.
जी मस्ती चल रही है तो मॉर्निंग वॉक में है ना.
Yes, Prabhuji.
In fact, there are several theories explaining how life originated from matter, how living matter came from the non-living.
All right, scientist, why is life not coming from matter now? You rascal. Why isn't life coming from matter now? Actually, such
प्रभात
scientists
पता
are
किसे बोल रहे हैं?
Dr. Singh
Sorry,
को.
प्रभात पता किसे बोले? डॉक्टर सिंह को. You rascal.
Hmm.
Yes, Mati.
Actually, such scientists are rascals. They childishly say that life came from matter, although they are not at all able to prove it. Our Krishna consciousness movement should expose all these rascals. They are only bluffing. Why don't they create life immediately? In the past, they say life arose from matter, and they say this will happen again in the future. They even say that they will create life from matter. What kind of theory is this? They have already commented that life began from matter. This refers to the past began. Then why do they now speak of the future? Is it not contradictory? They are expecting the past to occur in the future. This is childish nonsense.
They say that life arose from matter in the past and that they will create life this way in the future.
What is this nonsense? If they cannot prove that life arises from matter in the present, how do they know life arose this way in the past?
They
Wow,
are
perfect.
assuming. They are assuming.
Everyone can assume, but this is not science. Everyone can assume something. You can assume something, I can assume something, but there must be proof. We can prove that life arises from life. For example, a father begets a child. The father is living and the child is living. But where is their proof that the father can be a dead stone. Where is their proof? We can easily prove that life begins from life and the original life is Krishna. That also can be proven. But what evidence exists that a child is born of a stone? They cannot actually prove that life comes from matter. They are leaving that aside for the future.
ये कितना भारी स्टेटमेंट है ना. They cannot prove that life arises from matter in the present. So how do they know life arose this way in the past?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Produce
The
switch
scientists say that. हाँ, स्विच करना है. अच्छा आपको, ठीक है. तो अभी उदय प्रभु आप वो रोल ले लीजिए. माता जी का काफी बोलने का हो गया ना इसमें. शिला प्रभुपाद काफी, तो आप शिला प्रभुपाद, ठीक है.
Okay, Prabhuji.
The scientists say that they can now formulate acids, amino acids that are almost like one called living organisms. They say that because these acids so closely resemble living beings, there must be just one missing link needed before they can create life.
No nonsense. Missing link. I will change them to their face. I will challenge them to their face.
Challenge.
They are missing this
Hmm.
challenge. The missing link is this challenge to their face. Yes.
And
Nobel
some
Prize for
scientists,
us.
Nobel Prize for an S. Some scientists hope that in the future they will be able to make babies in test tubes.
Test tubes.
Yes, they intend to combine male and female elements in biological laboratories.
If they begin with living entities, what is the purpose of the test tube? It is only a place for combination, but so is the worm. Where is the credit for the scientists if this is already being done in nature's nest tube?
It is already being done by nature, but when some scientist does it, people will give them the Nobel Prize.
Yes, that is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. Sava vid varahastra varahostra karahi samastutaha purushaha pasuhu. This verse indicates that those who praise men who are like animals are no better than dogs, hogs, camels,
But
and
praise करने वाला भी dog और hogs की तरह
and asses.
category में है. ठीक है.
Swa means dog, with Varaha means stool-eating hog, Ushtara means camel, and Khara means ass. If the Nobel Prize is given to a scientist who is a rascal, the man on the committee who give him that prize are no better than dogs, hogs, camels, and asses. We don't accept them as human beings. One animal is praised by another animal. Where is the credit in that? If the man on the committee are no better than animals, anyone who receives a Nobel Prize in science is fool number one, because animals are praising him, not human beings.
For some scientists, the Nobel Prize is the ultimate.
They are rascals. They are speaking nonsense, and because they are juggling words, others are being misled.
Nobel Prize is the person who
He has created great misfortune, and he has left his money for creating further misfortune.
The Gita says demonic people perform acts means to destroy the world.
Yes, Ugra Karmanaha Kashyaya Jagato Hitaha. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, sloka 9. They perform acts meant for inauspiciousness and the destruction of the world. The difference between living and non-living. Srila Prabhupada points at the dead tree with the scale. Formerly, leaves and twigs were growing from this tree. Now they are not. How would the scientists explain this?
They would say that trees' chemical composition has changed.
To prove their theory, they must be able to inject the proper chemicals to make branches and leaves grow again. The scientific method includes observation, hypothesis, and demonstration. Then it is perfect. But the scientists cannot actually demonstrate in their laboratories that life comes from matter. They simply observe and then speak nonsense. They are like children. In our childhood, we observed a gramophone box and thought that within the box was a man singing an electric man. We thought they must have been an electric man or some kind of ghost in it. ये ऐसा
One
होता
of
है।
the flaw-
Yes, sorry.
जी प्रभु जी
तो
बताइए।
मेरा वो भतीजा है छोटा, तो एक वो फैन है, उसमें ना हरे कृष्णा बजता रहता है। तो उससे पूछो ना ये कौन बोल रहा है, तो कहता है कि भगवान बोल रहे हैं। तो ऐसा ही सिचुएशन है, हमें लगता था इतनी। यस जी।
One of the popular questions that arises when we start studying biology is what is the difference between a living organism and that which is not living? The textbook says that the chief characteristic that distinguish the two are that a living being can move and reproduce, whereas dead matter can do neither. But the book never talks about the nature of the soul or about the consciousness of the living entity.
But consciousness is the primary indication that life is present. Only because of consciousness can a living person being move and reproduce. Because a person is conscious, he thinks of marrying and begetting children. And the original consciousness is described in the Vedas. Tad ekshita bahushyam. Chand Chandogya Upanishad 6.2.3. This means that God, the original conscious being, said, I shall become many. Without consciousness, there is no possibility of byproduct. The individual living force. The gardeners supply water to the green trees. So why don't they supply water to this dead tree and make it green?
From experience, they know that it will not grow.
Then what is the element that is lacking? Scientists say that chemical are cause of life, but all chemicals that were present when the tree was alive are still there. And the chemicals are still supporting the lives of many living entities such as microbes and insects. So they cannot say that life energy is lacking in the body of the tree. The life energy is there.
But what about the life energy of the tree itself?
Yes, that is the difference. The living force is individual, and the particular individual living entity that was a tree has left. Okay, this must be the case since all the chemical necessary to support life are still there, yet the tree is dead. Here is another example. Suppose I'm living in an apartment and then I leave it. I'm gone, but many other living entities remain there, and spiders and so forth. So it is not true that simply because I have left the apartment, it can no longer accommodate life. Other living entities are still living there. It is simply that I, an individual living being, have left. The chemicals in the tree are like the apartment. They are simply the environment for the individual forces, the soul to act through. And the soul is an individual. I am an individual and therefore I may leave the apartment. Similarly, the microbes are also individuals. They have individual consciousness. If they are moving in one direction but are somehow blocked, they think, let me go the other way. They have personality.
But in the dead body, there is no personality.
This indicates that the individual soul has left the body. The soul has left, and therefore the tree does not grow.
Within the living body, Srila Prabhupada, there are innumerable small and living entities. But the individual self who knows the body is also living there. Is that correct?
Yes, in my body there are millions of living entities. In my intestine there are many worms. If they have become strong, then whatever I eat, they eat, and I derive no benefit from the food. Therefore, those who are full of hookworms eat very much but do not grow. They become lean and thin, and they are very hungry because these small living entities are eating their food. So there are thousands and millions of living entities in the body. They are individuals, and I'm an individual, but I'm the proprietor of the body, just as I may be the proprietor of a garden in which millions of living entities reside.
So if I eat Krishna's prasad's food offered to Lord Krishna, are the living entities in my body also eating prasada?
Yes, yes, you are benevolent. You take Krishna Prasad for others.
Welfare work.
Yes, but there are so many things within you from them to eat that you do not need to make a separate endeavor to feed them. Minimum words, maximum solution. The individual soul is never lost. He does not die or nor he is born. He simply changes from one body to another, just as one changes garments. This is perfect truth.
But why don't scientists accept
They're not nice men. They are rascal. They are not even gentlemen. Under appropriate circumstances, gentlemen will have some shyness or some shame, but these men are shameless. They cannot properly answer our challenges, yet they shamelessly claim that they are scientists and that they will create life. They're not even gentlemen. At least I regard them like that. A gentleman will be ashamed to speak nonsense.
They do not think before they speak.
That means they are not human beings. A human being think twice before saying anything. Krishna make the presence of life within the body so easy to understand. He says, Dehi no asmin yasadehe kamaram yavana jara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatrana mahayati. As the embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, Shloka 13. In these two lines, Krishna solves the whole biological problem. That is knowledge. Minimum words, maximum solution. Volume of books expounding nonsense have no meaning. Materialistic signs are like croaked frogs. Ka 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 ka. Srila Prabhupada imitate the sound of croaking frog and other laugh. The frogs are thinking, oh, we are talking very nicely, but the result is that the snake finds them and says, oh, here's a nice frog. Srila Prabhupada imitates the sound of a snake eating a frog. Bhap, finished. When death comes, everything is finished. The materialistic signs are croaking ka 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 ka. But when the death comes, the scientific industry is finished and they become dogs, cats, or something like that. Hare Krishna.
खत्म हो गया क्या ये?
Yes, Prabhu.
Amazing discussion, amazing.
Yes.
चलिए टाइम भी हो गया है. किसी को कुछ डिस्कस करना है, कुछ पॉइंट पे कमेंट हो? क्या अनुष्का माता जी आपको पसंद नहीं आया बिल्कुल भी?
जी प्रभु जी.
आपको पसंद नहीं आया क्या?
नहीं प्रभु जी, बहुत अच्छा लगा डिस्कशन.
अच्छा. आपको जो डार्विन को डांट रहे थे प्रभुपाद, बहुत अच्छा लगा क्या?
जी प्रभु जी.
चलिए ईशु ब्रो, एनी
मुझे
पॉइंट
इसमें आपने जो बताया था वो पॉइंट वो वही अच्छा लगा मुझे कि, और ये प्रैक्टिकल एग्जांपल भी देखते हैं हम कि जो रिस्पॉन्सिबल मतलब पोजीशंस में है अभी मटेरियल वर्ल्ड में, और दे डू नॉट हैव देयर मतलब अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ द हिस्ट्री पास्ट, और ये कई बार एग्जांपल देखने के लिए मिलते हैं. दे आर कोटिंग द रॉन्ग थिंग्स एंड from there they are deriving all the solution from that wrong theory, wrong philosophy, और फिर हमें solution नहीं मिलता है, then we again see for the next theory or next philosophy, फिर से नहीं मिलता, but we are going through the मतलब जो true sources है वहाँ नहीं जा रहे हैं हम. तो वही है वो प्रभुपाद जो बता रहे थे कि वो जो लिखा हुआ था ना, नोबल प्राइज माय एस, तो वो परफेक्ट एप्ट सूट होता है.
प्रभात कह रहे एनिमल कमेटी है, वो तो एक एनिमल दूसरे को नोबेल प्राइज दे रहा है, इसमें क्या बड़ी बात है?
That is the thing that is happening. और वही है ना, ये समझने में टाइम लगता है, बट इतने ज्यादा साइंटिफिक टर्म्स होते हैं, इतने बड़ी बड़ी बातें करते हैं वो ना, तो डर लगता है कि शायद वही सही ना हो. बट अगर हम लॉजिकली देखें तो वो ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं कर रहे हैं जो ऑलरेडी नहीं है. और मतलब
प्रभुपाद ने भी तो वो पॉइंट बोला ना, प्रभुपाद बोले कि प्रॉब्लम ही वो है कि बड़े बड़े फूल रास्कल जो हैं वो स्कॉलर बन गए हैं, इसीलिए पूरा संसार गलत डायरेक्शन में जा रहा है, क्योंकि जो सही व्यक्ति है उसे लग रहा है कि मैं गलत कर रहा हूँ.
राइट.
उसे लग रहा है कि अरे बताओ ये कितनी तरक्की कर गया, मेरे साथ का था कितनी तरक्की कर गया, ये कितना आगे निकल गया, मैं कितना पीछे रह गया. भक्तों के साथ ये प्रॉब्लम हो रही है. सोचो, अरे तू कहाँ पीछे निकल गया, तेरा वो रास्ता ही नहीं है, तो दूसरे रास्ते वो अलग रास्ते है, बढ़ने दे उसे आगे. क्यों जी?
यही प्रभु, लेकिन ये ना वो एक्सेप्ट करने में मतलब ह्यूमन साइकोलॉजी मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि बाय डिफॉल्ट ही ऐसी है कि है ना, मतलब ये या तो ये कह लो कि माया का प्रभाव बहुत ज्यादा है प्रभु इस योग में.
कंडीशनिंग, उसको कंडीशनिंग बोलते हैं ना, कि हम जिस एनवायरनमेंट में आते हैं वैसी कंडीशनिंग हो जाती है. जैसे मतलब अगर आप मंदिर में रहेंगे ना, तो आपको मटेरियल ओपुलेंस इफेक्ट नहीं करेगा, आपको फिर मंदिर का एटमॉस्फेयर इफेक्ट करेगा. जैसे अगर कोई मंदिर में ऐसा एटमोसफेयर बना हुआ है कि ये ब्रह्मचारी के 100 फॉलोवर, इसके 50, तो आपको वो लगेगा कि मेरे भी फॉलोवर हों। मंदिर में ऐसा एटमोसफेयर बना कि कंपटीशन है भगवान को सेवा करने का, तो आपके अंदर भी वो आ जाएगा। तो वो जिस एनवायरनमेंट में व्यक्ति रहता है ना, उसकी कंडीशनिंग वैसी हो जाती है। मैं खुद बता रहा हूँ, मैं जिस प्रोजेक्ट में रिसेंटली डिप्लॉय किया गया हूँ पिछले 1 या 2 हफ्ते में, तो सब बड़े बड़े लोगों से इंटरेक्ट करना है, तो वो सब MS MB और ऐसे करके, तो फॉर एटलीस्ट सम टाइम मेरे दिमाग में आया था ये कि यार तू भी MS और MB तो कर सकता है। फिर मैंने चेक किया इसको, मैंने कहा मेरे दिमाग में आ क्यों रहा है ये इससे भगवान की सेवा हो रही है क्या? मतलब करना है तो उसका एक पर्पस होना चाहिए कि गुरु ने बोला है, सीनियर डिवोटी ने बोला है, उसमें करने में बुराई नहीं है। बट आ क्यों रहा है? क्योंकि अब मैं ऐसे लोगों से इंटरेक्ट कर रहा हूँ जो अच्छे अच्छे इंग्लिश बोलते हैं, सब बहुत ऊंचे ऊंचे पढ़े लिखे हैं। तो ये कंडीशनिंग जिस एनवायरनमेंट रहते हैं,
और ये बाय डिफॉल्ट है, मतलब हर ह्यूमन के बीच में, मतलब ये तो ये है कि यू नीड हायर टेस्ट टू डेवलप सच अ कॉन्शियस कि आप इस चीज की, इन चीजों से आप इफेक्ट ना हो।
एग्जैक्टली। जो हायर टेस्ट में मस्त रहेगा उसे लोअर टेस्ट इफेक्ट ही नहीं करेगा।
राइट। लेकिन प्रभु
थोड़ा
ये
बहुत
फिर
इफेक्ट किया
बताने
भी।
के लिए मतलब हायर टेस्ट ये फॉल अजम्पशन ना हो जाए ह्यूमन का, मतलब कि हम उस चीज में स्वाद ले रहे हैं जो स्वाद ही नहीं लेना चाहिए हमें। तो दैट इज दी आल्सो केस की फिर हमें गाइडेंस वाली बात आ जाएगी कि मतलब हम अपनी दुनिया में खोए हुए हैं कहीं। मतलब फर्क ही नहीं पड़ रहा है फिर लोगों से,
भगवान
ये भी
बोलते
नहीं
हैं
होना
यही
चाहिए।
संपर्शजा भोगा, यही स्पर्श को भगवान बोलते हैं संपर्शजा भोगा। जो स्पर्श है ना भोग का, उसको भगवान बोल रहे हैं वही दुख का कारण है। तो टच किया और दुख शुरू, भोग के लिए जैसे टच किया दुख शुरू। अल्टीमेटली घूम के सब वही आता है, काउंसलिंग, गाइडेंस, स्पिरिचुअल मास्टर। बिना उसके तो कोई पार है नहीं संसार में।
राइट। That's it from me.
ओके, सो विल स्टॉप नाउ। वंशा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
जय। Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Hare Krishna.